and welcome to a review. Today is a lens review. I'm going to be reviewing the Sony 70-200 F2.8 Mark I, and that lens is right here. And I'm going to give you some insight in this video on why you only need to invest in the Sony Mark I. Well, you'd be right that it sounds stupid that when there's a Mark II on offer, why only go for the Mark I? Now, I took a visit to WEX the other day and I took great advantage of being able to test all the lenses. The three main ones I was looking at was the Sigma 24-70, Sony 24-70, and then the Sony 24-70 Mark II. And yes, the F4 was out of the question straight away, and that's the first thing that I want to speak about. Now, having the extra stop of light on the 2.8 from the F4 is absolutely game-changing, especially when you're a professional freelance videographer, and especially for me when I shoot a lot of weddings, festivals, events, and you can't necessarily control the light. It's always handy to have that extra bit of range with an f2.8. And well, you're right when they say that it's a lot lighter on the Mark II. But to be honest, after carrying a 24-70 around for a while, which the Sigma one, I must say, isn't the lightest lens, being that I have the Mark I of that as well, I didn't find weight a massive issue, especially not being an issue that meant I would have to spend a whole lot more money just because of the weight. So the man in WEX told me that if I was going to go for the Mark I Sony, that I may as well get the Sigma 70-200, in that it's going to be sharper, supposedly, which I fail to believe, because you can't beat the sharpness of a G Master lens. And regardless, he also said that you're going to get much faster autofocus because it's a newer lens, which fair enough. But I think a good videographer doesn't always need the sharpest and fastest of autofocus, and that I prioritise myself anyway, sharpness of the lens massively over autofocus. And then you've also got to know in that as well that you can take so many shots per second on the Sony G Master than you can on the Sigma, which to me is game-changing, especially when you're shooting sports. You do not want a slow lens. And so you'll see here on the G Master, you have these settings on the side. Again, I believe on the Sigma you are missing these. This is such a nice touch on the G Masters, which just give you that absolute butter smooth control over absolutely everything, so that you really can dial in your style exactly how you want it, which, I don't know, for me is massive as well, because when you're your own freelance videographer, you have to be different from everyone else, and this just allows you to do that so easily. And I just want to make clear here as well that this lens is a professional lens. Probably wouldn't advise it for beginners, especially if you're a hobbyist, maybe not earning money off the craft itself, because it is super expensive. It's certainly the most money I've ever dropped on a lens, and almost the most expensive thing in my arsenal of camera gear, besides the camera itself, obviously. But like all these things, it's all worth it as a business expense if it makes a difference. And I think in the coming weeks, on future shoots that I've got coming up, that's what's really going to tell the difference. Got a couple shoots this week where I don't really necessarily think I'm going to need this lens, but I've got a couple of weddings and events lined up within the next coming weeks where I'm going to be using this so much. As a first sort of review, first looks on this lens, this is great. I'm going to do a follow-up when I've used it a little more as well. But I think being new to shooting telephoto, I'm sure there's loads more people new out there as well. And I and ahed about this lens so much before buying it that I think it's useful almost to put a first look video out there with some footage that I've got from it now. Then going forward, after I've shot a couple of festivals and weddings with it, really looking how I've dialed this in, and it's changed my workflow. But for now, I'm super happy with it. Again, with the recommendations from WEX, I do think I've taken the better path, maybe not listening to them on this one, and actually buying the Mark I Sony rather than the Mark II or the Sigma 70-200, because you know what, at the end of the day, you have to trust the G Master. They're built this solid for a reason. They know what they're doing. And by all means, I love Sigma. I use the 24-70 on a daily basis, but this bad boy, I'm not going back on. So I know this one's been short. Hope you look forward to the follow-up as well. But if you are on the fence about which one to buy, I hope this has helped you out with a little bit of info there. Also first looks on this lens. Give this a like, of course, and if you are interested in working together on any content, please drop me an email. Well, the link is in the description below. And of course, I will see you in the next video.